So today's video is all about radiofrequency, how to reverse the clock, and how to use radiofrequency for body sculpting and body contouring. I'm going to start this video off a little bit differently and show you my before and afters starting from age 54 and how I'm able to reverse the clock and turn back aging to where I am now at 58. This video is primarily about radiofrequency and how wonderful it is for anti-aging and body sculpting. You can not only use radiofrequency alone, but it also pairs really well with different modalities. So here is me at age 54. Here is another picture of me at age 55, 56, 57, and today at 58. You can really see the difference between ages 54 and 58 and how I've really been able to reverse time. So how have I been able to do this? I have been able to do this with different modalities that I use in my DIY body sculpting. And I have learned through hours and hours and hours of research, and I've taken different classes on radiofrequency. I have learned so much about radiofrequency that I've been able to actually reverse time and age backwards, all non-surgically, all non-invasively. So I've done all of my treatments at home, and the biggest compliment I can get is, what are you doing? How are you doing it? So I'm going to share that with you today. I have several different modalities that incorporate radiofrequency. So the one consistent modality that has created the biggest change in my face and my body as far as skin tightening and anti-aging is radiofrequency. So how have I been able to do this? So let's go through, and I'm going to show you step by step how I've done different treatments, different modalities that I have incorporated with radiofrequency, and exactly what radiofrequency is. What is radiofrequency? How does it work? How does it work so well on your skin for anti-aging? And how does it work so well with body contouring and fat reduction? So let's back up a little bit, talk about radiofrequency and how it works. Radiofrequency is a form of electromagnetic radiation. There are several different types of electromagnetic radiation. They are classified in 6 different groups with different frequencies and wavelengths. These 6 types are grouped into 2 categories: ionizing and non-ionizing. Non-ionizing electromagnetic waves are low level. Radiofrequency, or RF, visible light, infrared light, microwaves, and low levels of UV light are non-ionizing. Non-ionizing types are considered safe as we encounter them constantly throughout our day. The human body even contains infrared radiation at a lower frequency than visible light. Ionizing electromagnetic radiation includes high-level UV light, X-rays, and gamma rays. Ionizing electromagnetic radiation is high-level and can be harmful. For fat reduction, radiofrequency reaches down to the deepest layer of the skin to the adipose tissue. It heats only the fat cells, causing cell death. These cells will be removed in waste through the lymphatic system. Fatty deposits are then reduced in the size for a slimming effect. So when you're using radiofrequency for fat loss, there's a temperature that you want to reach. You want to reach a temperature between 104 degrees Fahrenheit to 110 degrees Fahrenheit to really heat up that fat cell and cause the cell to break open and drain. When the cell breaks open and drains, then your lymphatic system will pick that up. So that's how you can use radiofrequency in body sculpting and body contouring to reduce fat. When using radiofrequency for skin tightening, you want to keep the temperature between 100 degrees Fahrenheit and 104 degrees Fahrenheit. The effects of radiofrequency is not only effective for fat reduction, RF energy induces controlled damage within the tissue. Although this may sound scary, it triggers the body into a healing mode. It signals your fibroblast cells in the deeper skin layers to produce new collagen, elastin, and hyaluronic acid. The result of your body producing these natural healing proteins is known as dermal remodeling. It increases skin elasticity, reduces wrinkles and fine lines, tightens and firms, and improves skin texture. So you can see the difference in temperature when using radiofrequency for skin tightening and radiofrequency for body sculpting. The areas that you want to stay away from when using radiofrequency, of course, are the throat and the thyroid. You never want to use any of these modalities over your throat or your thyroid. You also don't want to use radiofrequency over your spine. When I do any radiofrequency, you can do your neck, but you want to stay away from your throat and your thyroid. Give yourself about an inch away because you don't want any of that radiofrequency to penetrate into your thyroid. You also want to stay away from your lips. It's okay to go around your lips to the skin around your lips, but you really don't want to do your lips with radiofrequency. And you want to be really careful when doing radiofrequency around your eyes. You can do radiofrequency around your eyes, but you want to make sure it's at a very low level. The skin is so thin that you can actually make it look worse. So if you are doing radiofrequency around your eyes, be very careful and make sure that it's at a very low level. So you can actually contour your face with radiofrequency. So I'm 58 years old, and you saw how I've been able to reverse the aging process. And primarily that's been with radiofrequency. I have used radiofrequency paired with other modalities. The most recent modality that I have paired radiofrequency with is electromagnetic muscle stimulation. And that incorporates radiofrequency with muscle toning in the face. You can use that on the body as well, but I've only used it on my face so far. So these are the before and afters after 3 treatments that incorporates radiofrequency. I've also incorporated radiofrequency with microneedling here. This is a radiofrequency microneedling. They pair so well together. So you can pair radiofrequency with electromagnetic muscle stimulation. You can pair radiofrequency with microneedling. You can pair radiofrequency with vacuum therapy. You can pair radiofrequency with LED light therapy. You can pair radiofrequency with cavitation. Radiofrequency is like the go-to to pair with other modalities. That's why I love radiofrequency so much. So for me, radiofrequency, I've been able to actually mold my face back to better than it was before I even was on prednisone. If you know my story, you know that I have rheumatoid arthritis, and occasionally I get put back on prednisone, and you'll see in some of my videos that sometimes my face is bigger, sometimes my face is smaller, depending on if my RA is acting up or not. Sometimes I get put back on prednisone. Right now, I'm back on prednisone. That's why I haven't posted in a few weeks. I don't do any body sculpting or any body contouring when I'm having a flare-up of RA. If I'm having a rheumatoid arthritis flare-up, I usually will get put back on steroids for a few months till it calms down, and then I start back and start remolding my body again. So with that said, how I would use radiofrequency to mold my face back to get rid of some of the puffiness is I would map my face out. So here, as we age, everything starts to droop. We all know that. And as we age, the fat in our face also droops. So you can use radiofrequency to target pockets of fat on your face, on your double chin, your jowls, through here and through here. That's how I've been able to consistently keep the prednisone moon face at bay is with radiofrequency. I would map out my face and really target this area and go between a 104 degrees Fahrenheit to 110 degrees Fahrenheit for 3 to 5 minutes and really focus on this area right here. I'm not going to go any higher than this area and just stay right through here. That's going to target that fat in the lower face. That's going to give you back that chiseled jawline that we want when we get older. Because as we get older, our jawline starts to square out. We don't have that chiseled jawline anymore. So 104 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit will get that fat, will dissolve that fat pocket through here. Now you're not going to want to go any higher on the rest of your face. 100 degrees Fahrenheit to 104 degrees Fahrenheit for the rest of your face, because you do not want to lose any of the fat in the upper part of the face. You just want to chisel out your jawline and your double chin. So that's the key. You don't want to get any higher than that, because then that's when you'll start to lose fat in the upper part of the face. And that's what will make you look older, is when you start to lose the fat in the upper face. When you pair electromagnetic muscle stimulation with radiofrequency, not only are you getting the skin tightening effects with radiofrequency, but you're toning and tightening the muscles in the face. As we get older, I hate to say it, but I'm 58 years old, your muscle tone goes down, and that includes the muscle tone in your face. So that's why I always encourage you to pair radiofrequency with another modality. You're going to still get great results with radiofrequency, but if you pair it with another modality, you're going to get even better results. I'm going to show you how I was able to do a double chin lift using my S shape, and I used radiofrequency. I used my radiofrequency vacuum handle, and I used the EMS and the EL handle. The EMS is electromagnetic muscle stimulation, and the EL handle is electroporation. So what I did is I really targeted, and I'll show you that I kept the temperatures I was really careful at watching the temperatures on each part of my chin, because I really wanted to regulate the temperature. And I'll show you exactly how I did that, as well as incorporating the different modalities. I've done a video on this that incorporates radiofrequency and microneedling. So when you're doing radiofrequency for body sculpting and body contouring, it's important to know the frequency that you're working with. Typically, the at-home device that you can buy on Amazon, the handheld device, it's going to be in the hertz. It's not going to be a megahertz or a kilohertz. It's going to be in the hertz. That, to me, is not going to be strong enough to really do anything. If you're going to use if you're going to use a radiofrequency that is below a 1 megahertz, it's only going to be for slight skin tightening, slight skin rejuvenation. And that's typically what the inexpensive handheld devices that you can get on Amazon. And for me, I don't really think that's worth the money, because it's something that's not going to penetrate deep enough. It's not going to do enough controlled damage to the elastin and the collagen fibers that you need, that you can really achieve with radiofrequency. What I've always used is, I started out my channel using a 1 megahertz radiofrequency, and that really got my feet wet. I was able to really learn how to use radiofrequency with a 1 megahertz without causing too much damage. Because to be honest with you, I just figured it out. I just did treatments on myself. I did a lot of research, and I saw that was what was working and what wasn't working. And 1 megahertz radiofrequency to me was a really good starting point to start my journey learning about radiofrequency. Then I moved to a 5 megahertz radiofrequency, and that's where I've really been able to achieve the lasting long-term results that really have made a big difference in my anti-aging and my aging reverse backward without surgery. So typically, when you are looking for a radiofrequency device, you want something that's at least 1 megahertz. You can usually get in 1, 3, 5, and they do go up higher than 5, but that's where you're going to get into the clinical grade, where you're probably going to need to have some sort of a medical license or some sort of working under a physician to even be able to purchase a device that's over a 5. So typically I stay between a 1 and a 5 megahertz, and that's what I've been able to do, and a lot of my viewers have been able to use to get the results that they're looking for. So if you're looking for a radio frequency device or a device that incorporates radio frequency, you always want to look at the specs. I talk to my viewers all the time about how important it is to look at the specs on your machine. It's no secret that this S-shaped machine is my favorite body sculpting machine. It incorporates 5 megahertz radio frequency, 30K cavitation, electroporation, and electromagnetic muscle stimulation. And you can buy different varieties of the S-shape or the Aerostorm that will incorporate different cavitation frequencies and LED light therapy, low laser light, lipo, which is also a great modality to pair with radio frequency. But that's another video. So this is one example of what a 1 megahertz radio frequency handle would look like. This is the first machine that I started playing with. This is my very first cavitation machine that incorporates 1 megahertz radio frequency. This is a polar radio frequency handle, and the radio frequency goes in and comes back out. So it goes in and comes back out like this. And it actually goes in your skin one way and then comes back out. So this is an example of a 1 megahertz radio frequency handle. So this would be something that I would use on my double chin here and my lower face. This would be an example of one that I would use on my upper face, around my nose, around my up here through my lips, and around here. And the larger radio frequency to use on your body. This is an example of a radio frequency 5 megahertz radio frequency handle that incorporates vacuum therapy as well. So not only can you do your radio frequency skin tightening with your 5 megahertz handle, but you can also do your lymph drainage at the same time. So that's what's really great about these combination machines that have dual purpose handles, is that they incorporate different modalities. So this machine incorporates radio frequency and cavitation, radio frequency and vacuum therapy for the body, radio frequency and vacuum therapy for the face. You do not always have to use both modalities when using the radio frequency. You can leave the vacuum on 0. You can leave the cavitation on 0. If you only wanted to use the vacuum, you just wouldn't turn the radio frequency on. If you only wanted to use the radio frequency, you wouldn't turn the vacuum on. And there again, it has these little nubs here where the radio frequency goes in and comes back out. Goes in and comes back out. Radio frequency always needs an out. So that's why they have these different nubs on here. Sometimes they're flat, and sometimes they're polar, and sometimes they're just little nubs. Let's talk about conductive mediums. Anytime you use radio frequency, you're going to need a conductive medium because it needs to transmit radio waves. I'm going to try and make this as simple as possible. I get so many questions with regard to conductive mediums. Conductive with radio frequency, you want that heat. We talked about temperature. We talked about skin tightening temperature between 100 degrees Fahrenheit to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. For fat loss, you want that heat from 104 degrees Fahrenheit to 110 Fahrenheit. You want that heat. So in order to create the heat, you need a conductive medium that will help you generate the heat through your handle. This is a very inexpensive conductive medium that you can get on Amazon. It's just a raw and rare vegetable glycerin. You can use this with your radio frequency. This is a great conductive medium. And if you really want to supercharge this, add a few sprinkles of Celtic sea salt to your glycerin, and that will supercharge it. That'll give it more of the it'll give it more of the minerals that will make it more conductive. You can also add some nano silver Nano silver is really great to add to glycerin to make it more conductive. There are a few indie brands that I really recommend. The problem with indie brands is that they sell out so quickly, but they work the best. This is a radiofrequency specialized skin tight. This is a radiofrequency conductor specially designed to tighten the skin, and it'll really give you the heat that you're looking for. Like, this supercharges your radiofrequency. So if it's sold out one time, you go to the website, go back again, because she's really good about restocking. This is from Bodies by Jay. This is one of my trusted vendors that I work with, and I absolutely love this. A little bit goes a long ways. I've had this for a year now, and it's still practically full. Another thing that you can use is a hyaluronic acid and peptide gel. This is going to moisturize your skin, but this is a little bit expensive, and this is not one of my favorites. It dries up quickly, and it doesn't really give you the slip that you're looking for. You really don't want to use an ultrasound gel if you're doing radiofrequency. Ultrasound gel is cooling. Radiofrequency creates heat, so it's kind of combating each other. So what you want to do, if you have a dual purpose machine like the S-Shape, where you're doing radiofrequency and cavitation, you're going to want to use an aloe vera and a glycerin mix. You're not really going to want to use an ultrasound. Back in the day when I first started my body sculpting journey and I was just learning about body sculpting, everybody always used ultrasound gel. That's what everybody used. This was the industry standard. But that was 3 years ago, and people have made so many advancements by leaps and bounds and have discovered different ways to get that heat, different ways to get better results with their conductive medium. So worst case scenario, you can use this, but it's not going to give you the heat that you're looking for. You can also get different types of conductive mediums that contain hyaluronic acid, peptides, and all the stuff that's good for your skin. But there again, I circle back to this one that has all of that in it as well. It just sells out quick, so you want to get it while you can. So what are the treatment protocols when using radiofrequency? It all depends again on the strength of your radiofrequency device. If you're using a 1 hertz radiofrequency device, you can use that several times a week, because it's not going to go very deep into your skin. It's going to be very superficial. If you're using a 1 megahertz radiofrequency, such as the first one that I showed you, the polar handle, no more than once a week on your face or every 72 hours on your body. The skin on your face is thinner than the skin on your arms and your torso and your legs. So you can use radiofrequency more often on your body and not on your face. So the treatment protocol for your initial treatments would be for your face in using a 1 megahertz radiofrequency. I would suggest is once a week for 6 to 12 treatments, and then once a month for maintenance. After 6 to 12 treatments, you could really tell if it's really improving or if it starts to look worse. If your skin starts to look worse after using radiofrequency, you need to back off. You're using it too much. Your skin should always look better, not worse, after using radiofrequency. If your skin looks worse after radiofrequency, your temperature is either too high or you're using it too often. You're not giving your skin and the underlying tissues enough time to regenerate themselves. You're breaking them down, treating again, breaking them down again, treating it again, breaking them down again. If it's a 3 to 5 megahertz radiofrequency, every 10 days for 6 to 12 treatments, and then once a month. You don't want to overtreat with radiofrequency, like I said, because you're going to undo everything you're trying to build up. The time it takes to do radiofrequency really depends on the temperature. So say, for example, you're doing your chin. If I can get the temperature to the optimum temperature that I'm looking for to get rid of a fat pocket, which is 104 degrees Fahrenheit to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm only going to do it for 3 to 5 minutes, no more. Then I'm going to move to the next section. That's why I always suggest that you map out your area. Map out your face, map out your torso, map out your arms. That way you can work in sections and get the heat that you're looking for in that area. If I were to do the backs of my arms, to do skin tightening on my arms, I would break it down into 4 sections for about 5 minutes in each section, making sure that I was reaching the optimum temperature. Skin tightening, again, 100 degrees Fahrenheit to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. You really can get results at home. You don't have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on getting these treatments in a salon or a med spa. The average cost of a radiofrequency facial is between $300 to $500 for one. You can purchase a machine for 2 treatments. 2 treatments of a radiofrequency facial at a med spa. It's crazy how you can make one initial investment and save yourself thousands of dollars. I made one initial investment in that machine. That's what started my journey. You guys can do these treatments at home. I hope this video was helpful in explaining some of the ways that you can use radiofrequency for body sculpting and radiofrequency for anti-aging. And as always, everything I use in my videos will have links in the description box below. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know. Like and subscribe and leave a comment down below.